Hey everybody, and welcome back to Dudes Brunch, your late night morning talk show. I'm your host, Taylor Olmstead, and with me, as always this week, to talk about the internet and breakfast food, it's Tyler Reed. Tyler, what did you have for brunch today?
Hey everybody. Today, went to a place called Pleasantry in Over the Rhine, and I had just a bowl of potatoes that had had jowl bacon, which let me fire up the Google real quick because I actually never bothered to look up what this meant. Pork jowl is cured and smoked cheeks of pork, and so it's just basically just really thick pork, and it had some cheese and some jalapenos on it. It was very good.
Sounds delicious. Shaun Evans is here. Shaun, what did you have for brunch today?
This morning I had black coffee and toast, and unfortunately tragedy fell upon me when the toast slid off of my plate and landed butter side down on the floor.
Ooh, that's a sad day.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this day is off to a rough start.
You lose an hour, your toast hits the ground.
Butter side down.
Oh.
Because you got to clean it up. That's to make it worse. And now there's like a slick spot.
Just sliding around on the floor like it's risky business.
That's what it is all the time now.
Well, you heard him. Luke Chaffin is back here with us this week in my apartment here in Atlanta visiting. Luke, do you want to tell the fine folks what we had for brunch today?
We had whole wheat pancakes, which the first ones Taylor made I ate and were like thicker than my hand. And it was just, I tried to like eat all of it, but I really just like cut through half of each pancake and was only able to make it so far. It was so dense and it did not sit well with my stomach, that's for sure.
It was an insurmountable plate of pancake-shaped bread, and I applaud your heroic effort.
It needed to go somewhere.
You make a totally good point. We have whole grain pancakes in our pantry right now, and I hate them. Like, I don't like how they taste. I hate that they require so many ingredients. No matter how much you water them down, they still look like bread. The nice thing about pancakes is no matter how much water you add to them, at least they'll just turn into crepes. You know, like it's hard to mess that up. But like whole grain, oh my God. Like, you're right. It's like a Nokia 310 of pancakes.
Bringing it back. Yeah, I really thought that I was going to do the healthy option and buy the whole grain. I had never done it before, and I will never make that mistake again.
You were able to make them like thinner, though. You were able to make them bearable.
The second batch came out a lot better, and I expected you to like mix and match from the batches, but you were like, nope, I'm going to just take all these huge thick pancakes and try and eat every single one of them. And I was like, all right, man.
The amount of syrup I put on them was not enough. It was a mistake. It was truly a forced option that I feel like I had to do for myself. And here I am, still alive and full of crappy ass wheat.
If you add sugar to them, it makes them taste better.
I think I'm going to cut them half and half with regular pancake batter.
Don't ruin regular pancakes. Just throw it out.
Fair enough. All right. Well, this is episode 90 of Dudes Brunch, and so we're bringing back one of our most popular segments, the lightning round. If you've never been with us for a lightning round, basically it's a bunch of small topics that we couldn't fit into a normal show or things that we want to talk about for a very short amount of time. So the first piece of lightning round content we have this week is a piece of lightning follow-up that I posted in the subreddit. It is an infographic on the reason why otters are awesome.
Oh, otters.
If you haven't been with us, you may also not know that this podcast is like 20% breakfast food, 20% otters, and then 60% anything else.
Oh my God. Everybody should go to Google right now and type in the search bar in Google Reddit dudes, and I promise you that brunch is not one of the ones that comes up.
Oh, you better believe it. So, reasons why otters are awesome. They eat off their bellies. They hold hands. They kill fish for sport. They spend nearly 50% of their day grooming. And they enjoy sliding down river walls. I think this is just... Riverbanks.
River walls.
It's handwritten and I couldn't read it very well. I just thought this was a cute little infographic and it further cements our love of otters. even if this is a weird mashup of both river and sea otters.
Oh, Taylor, I already saw this infographic on r/otters. This is old news for real otter fans.
Well, you can just fuck the fuck off then.
You know Taylor's man. What do you?
Double
Double fucking there.
the dreaded double fuck.
All right, then what do you have for us, Tyler? What follow-up do you have?
Well, no, hold on. I appreciate that they don't discriminate between the two different types of otters, although I would like a more visual difference between the two so that we can, a little more, because if it's infographic, there's not enough info being displayed here.
Haters gonna hate.
Cute. If that's what you want me to say, Taylor, you got it. It's very cute. I like that he says, "I'm not even hungry," as he holds 2 fucking fish in his hands.
Relatable.
Except instead, it's a whole box of Oreos.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, you know what we should talk about since we're on Reddit?
What?
I don't think I ever told you guys. I never really caught up on my Reddit gifts. Remember when I was talking about this that I did that?
Oh yeah.
Did I ever tell you about how that ended?
Well, you said that you were going to send some gifts to people, and you never
did.
really said what you sent or what you received.
Oh, okay. So I sent about $20 worth of books to this college student in Berkeley. She returned absolutely nothing.
Oh.
I got like a consolation book from like a self-published author who writes Christian horror novels.
What? Like
Horror?
Yes, with an
Okay.
H.
Oh, okay. No. What's a Christian horror novel?
Well, it's like I didn't really make it through much of it, but it's basically like if metaphysics could meet with I don't know, like some kind of cabin archangel thing, Woods dark archangel.
Yikes.
But there's like blood and crap. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, the Bible's got some fucking scary shit in there. Like,
That's a good point.
It should really not be very hard to, like... I mean, isn't the true Christian horror just you find out that God doesn't exist and then, like, oops.
I think the real Christian horror would probably be Exodus, probably anything in the Old Testament, maybe.
Or, having to read all of Numbers. That's a real horror story right there.
It sure would be hard to read every single number.
Sure would.
2, 3. Oh, this sucks. 4.
Does anyone care about Samurai Jack?
Only as much as you do,
Which is a lot, actually.
so not that much.
Oh,
I lied. I know about it. Like, I can talk about it.
sure. They just had a new episode come back after like 10 years, so.
Yeah, no, I haven't been able to watch it out here. Although we did watch episodes of Samurai Jack today while we were just lazy lounging on a Sunday. Because I love Samurai Jack, don't get me wrong. I just haven't been able to... and I was super excited for it to come back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, unless you have cable, which I assume, since we're all millennials, we don't have cable services, so you had to jump through like a few hoops to watch it. Because Catherine tried to use Sling, and that apparently didn't work because it's just like a streaming service. But they said you could like just watch it,
Right?
but you can't.
Aw.
And so then she got PlayStation View, which was like $20 a month, but she's
That's
like,
how much
well,
Sling is.
right? But she's like, there's some good stuff on here. I might just keep this. So, but Catherine's a collector of subscription services, almost enough that she could probably just have cable, Amazon, Hulu, Netflix.
Oh my God, she might as well just have cable.
Yeah,
So wait, Tyler, did you watch the new Samurai Jack yet, or
I did.
was it good?
I thought it was very good. I feel like they didn't know exactly how to come back, like after being gone for so long.
Right.
I thought it was a really good start to a 6-part series, like a 6-part episode series. I think it really sets up some good, interesting narrative. I don't really want to spoil a whole lot, but I mean, it's a little bit edgier. It's a little more crusty. Jack is much older technically. He's gone through a lot, and he's kind of having to deal with a lot of like the psychological issues of like not aging for like 50 years and like
Yeah, I heard about that.
And like hiding and yeah. So Shaun just doesn't give.
No, it's not that I don't. I feel like every show has trouble like restarting itself.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how far you made it into Arrested Development yet, but
Buster
like
just lost his hand. Spoilers.
You are taking this at the slowest pace
oh my
ever.
god.
Oh yeah.
I watch like 4 episodes at a time. What the fuck do you want from me?
There's only 56. That should take you like a little over 12 days.
I don't watch them all at once. I watch like it's like, well, it's Thursday. I have nothing to do. Time to sit down and watch some Arrested Development.
Or something better.
Oh,
I'm gonna fight you.
I know.
But-
I know Taylor loves Arrested Development. I know all y'all love Arrested Development, and I have my moments with it. But it's never something I can like binge watch by myself.
right. That's kind of how I feel too. Is that it's really good. I mean, it's really good.
Listen,
But, I
you
mean,
guys have to step up the hate yourself game a lot more.
Yeah. I think I like drunkenly watched all of season 1 with like a party of people like that. Like we binged an entire season, and I would gladly do that again. But I think that's like the only way I can get through it.
Season 1's not even that good.
Right?
Yeah, season 2 is where it gets good.
season 2 is where it
It's
gets
like
good, apparently.
it's because we were talking about Always Sunny. It's like when you watch like the first couple of seasons of Always Sunny, you're like, all right, it's a nihilistic show where everybody hates everybody. But once you get into like the later seasons, damn, this is actually like really hilarious.
Right.
But I can only watch like 1 or 2 of these at a time because they really make me feel bad about myself.
I mean, to be fair, it's really a show about nothing. It's a show that has so many things going on, but really. But also, I just don't sit down to watch TV that much.
Yeah. No. I relate. I need to watch shows with other people so I can have the excuse that it's like a social thing.
But back to my original point, I think Futurama suffered from that too. When they did the restart. I've tried to like chalk it up to like Fry being in love, so he's like a different character now. Like we all change when we fall in love, but like it's just not the same. The first 5 seasons are not the same as the last 5.
So, what are you thinking for the Twin Peaks reboot then? Are you gonna watch it?
I'm not. I'm no, probably not.
I'm excited about it, but
I've
Sean
got
said
so many
probably
other
not.
shows to watch right now that I actually want to watch. Like Better Call Saul's coming back.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty's going to be back. Venture
Yeah.
Brothers is going to be back. There's a lot of animation that's coming back right now that I got to catch up on all Bob's. I got to catch on all the Simpsons. I got a lot. Who knows? Maybe Animals is going to come out with another season. That's going to take another 6 days to watch. That show really makes you feel bad about yourself.
speaking of TV shows, Tyler, how is our Spirit Guide show, My Brother and Me's foray into TV going? Have you been watching it?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It was now that all 6 episodes. Basically, Catherine and I mainlined that in like 2 days. But that's our sleepy time show. That's the kind of stuff we watch like when we're going to bed. Shaun doesn't approve of my TV watching habits. Anyway, I think it's some people like I feel like like the Washington Post or somebody wrote like an article about like it would be a lot better if they would just stop laughing at their own jokes. You're like they're not like just they're like being like hypercritical of like, oh, well, this is pretty and like they're just like 3 guys that made a fucking podcast and they're like, and someone was like, hey, do you want to make a TV show? And they're like, yeah, I guess. And they basically improv 6 episodes. Like, I mean, you can be critical. You can just think it's not funny, but being like, this the acting could be better on this. You're like, okay, it's really just more of like fan service more than anything.
Yeah. The McElroy Gagackle boys or whatever their names are. I very briefly heard about them and their foray into TV, but before that, I had a friend be like, "Have you listened to the Adventure?" Tyler, has anybody in this group listened to the Adventure Zone podcast that they were doing?
That they're still doing. That's almost over.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to start that, and I suck at listening to podcasts. Like, you guys are like the first podcast I was able to listen to at all, and that's because like I knew you guys. But this is my second podcast that I've been trying to listen to, and I listened to most of it on the drive up here, or down here to Atlanta.
It's okay. I don't understand geography either. It's fine.
I'm one of the people who don't understand maps either. It's fine.
Oh, thank God.
But yeah, so far, I was interested to see what their TV show version was going to be, and I watched like the first episode. It was okay. They were funny at times, but like when they got like really up in each other's face, like right off the bat, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm for this.
Well, right. It's basically if you just take a segment of their podcast and just make it into, expand it and make it visual. So, I mean,
Which is something this show should never do.
I don't know. Maybe.
No one wants to see our faces.
To Lucas's point, so you did watch or listen to the Adventure Zone, or you are thinking about it? I forget what you said.
I've started listening to the Adventure Zone. I'm like 8 episodes in.
I mean, that's pretty far in. You must have liked it enough to keep on going.
Oh yeah, I mean, isn't there like 200 episodes at this point now, or something like that?
There's like maybe close to 60.
Okay,
so. Yeah, it's not that vast.
but they are like hour and a half long forays into listening to other people play Dungeons and Dragons, which has its hit or miss moments.
Sure, but I would say that probably around maybe the 10 or 20 mark, probably about halfway through, they really, I think, cut it down a little bit less on like maybe like the dice rolling a little bit. It's a little bit more focused on sort of like the storytelling. So I would say that it has its ups and its downs, but I think like where we're at right now, which is like towards the end of the series, I think it gets really good. It really the story really comes together because, I mean, to be fair, the narrative is kind of evolving. Like Griffin basically is like coming up with it as they go along, I think, for the most part. Or at least I think he kind of like really grew into the role, I think. So I think it definitely kind of gets more consistent and more interesting kind of like later on. So I would say if you're at least somewhat interested, you'll probably want to just stick with it if you think you're going to like it.
Okay.
I don't know. And that's hard. It's hard. Like, I'm committed to it regardless because it's a McElroy product, and I love Dungeons and Dragons. So there's 2 ways that I love it.
So this week, via the Analog podcast, I discovered a new sport that I wanted to get everybody's hot takes on for the show here. This is called extreme ironing.
Oh, I saw this dumb thing.
So I guess we know how Shaun feels
about
you can
everything.
make anything. You can make anything extreme like that, like extreme water drinking, extreme plant growing. Like just put it on the side of a mud pit.
Extreme nut crushing.
Do you mean like the salty snack?
I don't know.
Sure, buddy. But yeah, so if you're not
crushing.
So if you're not familiar, extreme ironing is basically doing extreme sports while ironing, and that's it. That's all it is.
Okay, there's some cool photos here, though. Like a guy on top of a mountain ironing, like, other than him ironing, that's pretty cool.
This kind of reminds me of like what we were talking about before we started the show with that Saturday Night Live bit, where it's like there's almost something that's very like chauvinistic about this. Look, I climb the top of a mountain and I can iron, so not so hard. Like, I know that sounds terrible, but like I don't know. There's something that
I don't think
totally
that's
see
the
some
statement this makes.
that way.
I think
I don't think so either. But I could.
You could bend it that way, yeah.
You could,
I think
totally,
it's more the idea
really
of like,
offensive.
What's the most ridiculous thing you can do on the side of a mountain? Probably ironing a dress shirt.
And
Because you don't
secondly,
need
if
that
I
while
was
you're
your
climbing a mountain.
insurance agent and I saw you ironing while you were like driving the Baja 600 or something, I would totally drop you.
But you can be a meme and you can get on BuzzFeed doing it. So like, who's the real winner?
Isn't that really everyone's dream is to be on BuzzFeed?
I mean, no offense, but the most popular article on BuzzFeed is probably about who lies on Twitter all the time.
I love our president.
It's not who I was talking about.
Oh, whoops.
So
which other one are we talking about?
you just have to let it. You just have to let that drop. You just have to let that drop. So if you guys were gonna go extreme iron somewhere, where would you take your ironing board?
Court Street, 2 a.m.
I mean, Volcano, right?
That's a good one.
That's so stereotypical. Pick a good one. You could do better than that.
Jesus. All right.
I'm here to push you to make you a better person. I'm not going to say edge of a volcano. That's where I would iron. That's dumb.
Surfing? Disarming a bomb.
Oh, you go like during a football match, and I mean like European football match. You like instead of like streaking, you know, how streakers run out there. You run out with the ironing board and you try and iron the shirt before security tackles you. I'm just saying, give that one a shot.
That.
I want to iron while crowd surfing.
Also dangerous.
I mean, really, that's more dangerous than any of the things we have previously mentioned. So,
What's something extreme you do, Tyler? What's the most extreme thing you do?
I don't know, like drive 80 on the highway. I don't know.
Which you get a citation for driving over the speed limit while ironing. I like you. That's why we're friends. You're just a cool house cat kind of guy. You don't need to take risks like that to feel alive.
What the hell do you do, Shaun?
What? I run.
Your most dangerous situations.
I run on the wrong side of the street again, like with traffic. That's a dangerous activity.
So would you like strap an ironing board to your chest and iron while you run?
Would I iron something on my chest?
No, like I'm talking like a fold down.
No, that's what you just said. Just for the record, that's what you just said.
I said attach an ironing board to your chest, like a fold down thing where it's flat in front of you, but it's like harnessed to you via your chest, and you're ironing while running. Well, then don't make fun of Tyler for ironing while driving.
Well, because it would have to be attached to an outlet or something, unless you have a like gasoline powered iron.
You have, I don't know, you have a battery powered iron or something. Whatever, that's not important.
Battery powered? What? Who are you, Al Gore? I don't get it. I don't understand this whole. Come with an actual situation where I need to iron something.
That's the conceit of the question, Shaun.
For the record, I have steamed something with it on me, which was also really dumb.
That is a horrible idea.
Actually,
it is terrible.
Now that I'm looking at these photos, where are they getting the power for most of these irons they're using? Like, unless... And they're underwater. Hang on. How do you iron underwater? I think these are all fake. I'm calling it now. This entire thing is a farce, and we have been led astray.
Luke, I'm totally with you there. You can't call it extreme ironing if you literally aren't ironing something.
Exactly.
You can't just like, this isn't planking or like any of those like, you know, ice bucket challenge or something. You really honestly have to iron something.
True. I'm here for it. If you can prove that you like got
or bottle flipping.
Yeah. Wait, what?
You never saw bottle flipping?
Oh no, but
you
like,
had to see
how can you fake bottle flip? Is that what you're getting at? Like, there's fake bottle flippers out there?
Speaking of that, which one of those would you like to see come back? What deserves a revamp?
I want to see planking come back. Mostly because the best part of planking was the videos of people falling down while planking, like falling into dumpsters and stuff. Hilarious.
Yeah, I would say planking can come back, but like, because I had one or two good moments where me and a friend were like, hang on, let's look like idiots for a second here and plank and see, and then we planked for a moment and laughed about it and then never did it again.
Tyler, any internet sensations you'd love to see come back? Oh my god, there had to be something.
Tyler just hates the internet. Why would it ever want to come back?
I don't know if that's true at all. I just don't know if there's a particular fad that I'm like, Vine, can Vine come back?
Too soon.
Yeah, that would be good.
Pour one out.
I think I definitely want to see the throwing popcorn off of a high place to catch it in somebody's mouth. I really like those videos. That was cool. Listen, you can hate on it. Go for it. But, dude, all I've been doing is hating on your stuff. Just throwing popcorn into somebody's mouth from a high altitude is stupid. Just let me have it.
Todd's just like a coffee shop, and he just has like a knife, and he's backed into the corner. And he's like, "Get away from me, all of you! I can see you!" And everyone's literally just sitting there, just drinking their coffee and reading a book. And you're like, "Sir, I think we're gonna have to ask you to leave. You're very upset right now. I don't know why you're so mad."
Sorry, I just transfer all this work frustration onto this podcast on Sundays.
But it's gonna be all right, buddy. No one's here to hurt you. It's a safe space.
So we got an email last week from the guys in Freak Mythology, a band based out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and they just dropped the lead single from their upcoming new album and wanted us to kind of give it a first listen and let the audience and the band know what we thought of it. So we all just listened to it, and I guess let's get some first impressions. What do you guys think?
I would definitely say right out the gate, I love the emphasis on the bass. Very active bass, lots of stuff going on there. I think that's something that's really kind of missing. That I really like to hear in like my music. I like to have lots of very active instruments, lots of different stuff kind of going on all at once. I guess it's technically not. I would say jazzy, but it's actually more funk, right? I think is what we would.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that's cool. I think it's something that's. I don't know if that's currently in vogue. I think we're probably going out of the folk revival kind of mood. So it's kind of interesting to see something a little different.
Well, I thought they did a bunch of stuff really right. Like, I liked that there was a heavy bass line because I'm a big fan of bass. I thought the drums were really good. The guitar was good. The vocals were good. Lyrics were good. They did also something very right, and they made it under 7 minutes long. It's actually a super good choice. That's just a personal thing for me. Like, if you can't say it in under 5 minutes, you probably need to just cut some of it down. So, in all, I like the sound. Like, the whole, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers meet ska, it kind of has like almost like a Less Than Jake, or like, has that like kind of pop punky with horns feel a little bit, but without the horns, which is also a good choice. The one downside was I would like talk to your sound engineer, because it is sonically confusing sometimes where instruments are coming from. Like, you have the bass pan to the right ear and the guitar pan to the left, but when you're listening to the drums, it just comes from like the middle of the sound, and then when he does the fill, it moves from the right to the left on the stereo, and not the proper way that drums should go. So, like, I don't know if you gotta talk about that, because that's like an important thing for people who really listen to music. Not saying that kind of sounds like a douche thing for me to say, but like, it matters. It matters what the perspective you want the listener to have, whether they're like watching you perform live, which is I think how you want to have it set up, or you're like wanting them to hear it as if they were standing behind the band. Like, you have to pay attention to that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Talk to your sound engineer about that.
The drums were like way in the back as well. It felt like they were like way too low, especially considering in a live performance they're going to be a little more up there. And I mean, they're doing some interesting stuff too. So I would really like to hear that a little more prominently.
Yeah, Lukas and I were actually splitting the earphones for this, and so I had the right, or I had the left and he had the right, and I noticed the panning as well. I'm sure you probably did.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of, I don't know, I think I got less of the bass almost, because you were talking about how awesome it was, and I was just like, it was, you know, like, it was there, like, I got it, I was bobbing my head, and I was like,
I didn't hear much bass.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where, like, for me, this is the kind of music where whenever I listen to it, I'm like, I would like to be in the audience at a show, probably a normal cheap beer in my hand, and I'm bopping around just having a good time, you know, a friend or two next to me. Fun music, fun show, but I again, this might have been just because I was on the left side, but there wasn't like enough, like, it didn't go enough places for me, if that makes sense. Like, it was steady, it was solid, it was funky, it was chunky, but it didn't travel hard enough for me.
See, I had the opposite reaction. I'm with Shaun. I think jam music like this has a tendency to go for really long songs that feel like they have to go a bunch of places. Coming in at 2 minutes and 45 seconds long, this feels like the kind of pop jam that we would get in the 90s from bands like Gin Blossoms and Toad the Wet Sprocket and like those guys. I love that sound, and it's great to get like the guitar noodling and the funky bass lines without having to sit through an 8-minute song.
Right.
I feel like this was really compact.
Give it to them. They did it the right way.
Yeah. And I thought, like, the lyrical structure was really interesting, where you have kind of like this conceit of being on house arrest and you're exploring different ideas of it in each verse, but the verses are very, like, they're all set up in the same lyrical format, which it creates a nice sense of repetition in the song that I felt like this just feels like a really tight unit. And I think seeing this song live, it would be a whole lot of fun as well. So I'm with you guys. I really like the song. I think recording needs a little bit of work just in the stereo panning, because I think the levels were probably fine. It was just where they were placed in the left to right of the stereo mix was a little weird. Yeah, I would totally see these guys live. I think that'd be fun.
That's a shout out to whoever wrote the lyrics. Like, they found a good way to be like overt but still subtle, which is hard to do. When I think about like really good panning, I think about Circa Survive. They have the benefit of having 2 guitars, a bass player, drums, and vocals, so they can do like a guitar in the right ear and a guitar in the left ear and have it come together really well. But like they're pretty good, I think, in terms of having an all together beautifully engineered sound.
But yeah, this is a lot of fun, and I'm excited to hear the full album when it comes out. I think these guys are heading in a really cool direction.
Yay.
Good job.
Great job.
Wham wazzle.
So, keeping it on that music thread, why don't we just go around and do one of these little lightning rounds on what we've been listening to this week? Like, what's your track of the week, if you had to pick one?
So my musical track of the week is the Digimon English theme on 6 floppy drives.
I knew that was going to be yours. All right, Tyler, why don't you go ahead and explain this?
So this is a quick little 1-minute rendition of this song. And there's so this process I barely understand, but Catherine explained it to me at least a little bit earlier today, where essentially they're taking the process of these floppy drives and like tightening certain parts of like their arms to make them have certain pitches. And so they are technically not intended to like make music all together, because you can line a bunch of them up and you can have like these patterns that they can kind of like read. It can make a song. And so I just thought this was really cool because Digimon's all sort of about like floppies and weird digital like computer jargon stuff. And so I thought it was a good pairing.
Yeah, I just listened to a very tiny amount of it, and honestly, as someone who remembers listening to the Digimon theme way too much back in the day, that sounded actually really great. Like, I'm surprised how good that sounded on those floppies. Like, or on those CD drives, like, holy crap.
Yeah, it was super cool. A really nice use of a non-conventional instrument. So my track of the week is this instrumental that I got in my my new music mix this week. It's called Flips and Flops, Drips and Drops by Electric Mantis. And it's just one of these like kind of trappy like trip hop instrumentals that I've been really vibing on this week. It's got some nice like reversed synths and vocal samples going on in here. And yeah, I really like it for driving. It's been my new like commute home from work song recently.
I mean, I'm down for this. This is sort of the zone I've been trying to play in recently. So if I actually gave like a real music recommendation, that would probably be somewhere in the zone I would be in. Spotify's done a really good job of just finding me just random shit to listen to. Like, for example, the one that they just suggested to me that I listened to like as before we started the show, it's called Bleeps and Bloops, in which it's described as instrumental futuristic electronic bliss from forward-thinking producers. I'm like, great. It's exactly what I wanted.
I like this. It kind of reminds me of something I would like see on some kind of homemade video of an extreme sport or something. Like, I know that sounds so stupid, but like if you ever, I don't know, you guys probably don't watch this dumb stuff as much as I used to, but like people going on like mountain bike tours.
That's what I was just gonna say.
And
this seems like mountain bike video music.
Yeah, they kind of like play these like electronic beats, or like skiing or something, like alpine stuff. They play videos like this, or like music as like this in the background. It kind of sets that tone, and I like that. It bothers me it doesn't have lyrics though.
It's the background to every Casey Neistat video.
That also.
Very recently, in the most poppy pop Lukas listens to pop kind of music, Lorde's Green Light that dropped is just fun, and like, you know, one of those songs where it's just like, I'm gonna go dance, I'm gonna have a good time, but at the same time, fuck you, dude. Yeah, get the feeling out. At least that's how I feel about it. And the other one that's like top of the charts is Down by Marian Hill. I don't know if you guys heard this. It's the most like simple like song about like just are you down is just like played over and over again, but with like pitch shifted, and it just sounds really okay, but while you're driving it just sounds like 50 times better, and you're just like, yes, I can go very fast now, even though it's not a fast song. It's very weird. I don't know how I feel about it, but I've been listening to that kind of stuff right now.
So a bunch of people had told me I needed to listen to Greenlight by Lorde, and I hadn't until last night when we were driving back from a bar. We had like carpooled to a bar, and we got back to where all our cars were parked when the song came on, and Luke was like dancing in the parking lot to this song while we were like switching cars. And I was like, yeah, okay. I get this song now.
Just gotta let it out. Just gotta feel it.
Is this gonna be the summer anthem song?
This could be the song of the summer. It's a little early, but I think it could be.
But as we know,
The song of the summer
hits.
actually starts in like April.
On a side note, Tommy Hilfiger plays WoW, Genghis Khan, that Bruno Mars song. Pretty much every summer hit that we thought was gonna happen last year that we really liked, they play it on a regular basis. It's actually nice to go to work and have a soundtrack that I want to listen to.
Nice.
It's a good feeling. So what do you have for us here, Shaun?
I have Empire of the Sun. Way to go. It's off their new album, which was playing at Banana when I was there, and its entirety. And same way at Tommy. Everybody kind of loves this. This song in particular seems to be getting a lot of play from Muzak, so it just gets stuck in my head.
This is a band that I had always heard of and never listened to until this album came out, and now I feel like I can't not listen to them. Like, I just pick it up by osmosis in every public place I go to.
This is a very you band.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't listen to them before.
I know they're coming to DC, and it's like $150 a ticket.
Holy shit. I distinctly remember getting one of their songs as a free song on iTunes forever ago. And I feel like I read the reviews for it, and they're like, this song is stupid, and I hate this song. It's dumb. I mean, this is in 2008. So these guys have been doing this shit forever. I didn't even realize it. I was like, they're still doing stuff, and I still have never taken really the opportunity to listen to them. It feels a little too 80s drenched for me sometimes, although I'm kind of subconsciously kind of getting into that zone because I found a lot of sort of 80s inspired instrumental electronica bands. So I'm kind of well,
It's happening to you.
It's happening to all of us, Taylor. The 80s are bad.
Prepare for the glam pants and the bad hair.
I remember we talked about M83 when Alec was on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Empire of the Sun reminds me of M83 a lot.
Yeah, they do. But M83 is a bit more European and polished, and Empire of the Sun feels much more like
Australian?
Well, no, yes, but they feel more like
Called it.
They feel more like a band that can jam, whereas M83 feels like almost in that Daft Punk way of slick, and it's like a routine more than it is like a jam, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So to finish off this week's lightning round, we're bringing back Internet Question Answer segment, the segment that we couldn't come up with a good name for a couple weeks ago, where we were to answer your questions from the internet. And this week, longtime listener and fan Ivan, who is passionately Team Sea Otter, gave us a bunch of lightning round questions that we're going to go through. So Ivan, this whole segment is for you. All right, first question,
Found
kids.
on the R Dudes Brunch subreddit.
Oh yeah, found on the r/Dudes Brunch subreddit. If you have things you want us to talk about, submit them on the subreddit. All right, kids, first question. What are your thoughts on office flair at your desk?
What are our thoughts?
Yeah, do you have
So it's
flair? Do you appreciate desk flair? Do you have little toys on your
Potted
desk?
plants, action figures, knickknacks,
Pictures of your children.
pictures of your kids, all our non-existent children.
Pictures
I
of
don't
your
have-
podcast co-hosts.
I don't have a desk.
You have a desk where you record the show, though.
Yes.
So you have a desk.
There's a black cat tape holder.
Hell
It's
yeah.
strewn with dead batteries and cards that don't work anymore. And there's a picture of Sarah and I at Hocking Hills, and a picture of my mom's side of the family, all of us cousins and my grandma. Oh yeah, and on the picture of Sarah, I have the first date we ever went on. I have the ticket stub from it.
But how do you feel about it, though? How do you
What?
feel about the idea of it? I feel like you have a pretty minimal desk layout. You don't have a lot of sort of decorations.
No, I have a thesaurus.
That's not a decoration. That's a
Oh, hold
functional
on.
tool.
I think I have. Hold on. Oh
Hell yeah.
yeah, check this out. I do have this on my desk. I do keep some mementos as flair. And I don't. You can see my camera, right, everybody?
Well, we can, but the listeners can't,
Oh,
so you're
okay.
going to have to paint a word picture.
They can't, but I do have my invitation from Taylor Olmstead's Eagle Court of Honor
Oh,
that I have. I keep it on my desk.
Aw, thanks, buddy.
It's always been on my desk, so it goes on my desk stuff. It was a proud moment for me.
It was a proud moment for me, too. It was really good having both of you there, actually.
hell
I
yeah.
mean, you told everybody that I was a criminal.
That's not true. But anyway, Tyler, we all know that you are the king of desk flair. What's your methodology? What stuff do you have on your desk?
Well, since I upgraded and have my own space now, I've been able to kind of spread things out a little more evenly. So right now my Flair is a little more minimal. But that being said, if I look to my left, there's basically 2 shelves of Flair there. But right
so
now,
you've
I just
moved
got
from desk Flair to a bookshelf full of Flair?
Yeah, no, I have a bookshelf with more Flair on it than my desk.
Yeah, because on the right side, I got my Lucky Cats, and I have a Sonic Ninendroid, and then my Rilakuma Otter plush, and then a Shiba Inu plush, and that's it for that. And then I have my Godzilla and Power Ranger top shelf, and I have my Pokemon and Yokai Watch shelf.
It's basically his trophy shelf.
Right.
Except he didn't win anything on there, he just bought them.
I literally nothing.
And they're all separated by fandom.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All Japan, though. All Japanese, sort of unironically.
Luke, are you a desk Flair person? Do you keep stuff on your desk?
No. Desk is mostly just crap from work strewn about. I feel like if I was the kind of person who, like, subscribed to, like, a Loot Crate or one of those variety monthly boxes where you just kind of get Flair and swag from a variety of places, I would just cake my desk in them, but I don't do that, so I don't get the stuff for it, really.
I have an enabler as a girlfriend, so she really supports, and, well, we really enable each other, because basically for every holiday that's appropriate to give, we're like, well, I guess I got you more action figures.
So that's actually pretty similar to my desk Flair. Everything that I have on my desk at home that's not like a functional tool, and on my desk at work, is stuff that was given to me as gifts. And then I have a few photos on my desk at work. So, like, on my desk here, I only have one piece of Flair. It's a little miniature zebra mask that my friend Brian bought for me in South Africa. And then on my desk at work, I have, like, a couple of Beatles souvenirs that I got from various family members for Christmas. I guess I did buy the Blink-182 rabbit that's on my desk, but I bought that at my first Blink show. And then I have a picture of you guys. The podcast team and Kevin. It's our baseball bats in the sunset photo, which everyone in my office thinks is a real sunset, even though I totally photoshopped it.
The shittiest Photoshop job I've ever done in my entire career.
Yep.
I bet that thing's blown up, and I bet it's pixely as fuck. It's just
it is. It looks like shit, but they all think it's real when they walk by.
And
then I have a picture of Daniel and Seth and I at Third Man Records in Nashville.
Aw.
Yeah, so I don't have a whole lot on my desk here, but I have a lot of stuff on my desk at the office. I'm totally in support of desk Flair.
I think it's essential. I think it's super important. I think, well, at least in the creative field or a job that you hate, you're like, you can just look left or right and you're like, I could get inspired by this, or man, that sure is cool looking. It sure is cooler than the thing that I'm doing right now.
Well, and we can't all be Johnny Ive and work on a single slab of oak that you mined from a forest in Italy surrounded by glass. You have to have some memories in your life.
What is it? If it's the crappy job, it's that scene from The Simpsons where he puts Maggie's pictures up and it's like, do it for her. You know,
Yeah.
That's what Flair can be at a shitty job.
All right, so what's the next question that's not going to get me into a downward spiral of depression?
So our next question is, based on Shaun's rant from a couple weeks ago, what is our favorite Girl Scout cookie and pros and cons of some major Girl Scout cookie flavors?
There are no cons, and Thin Mint.
Thin Mint.
Oh, 100% Thin Mint.
Oh, are we yes on Thin Mints?
We are yes,
Yeah.
yes on Thin Mints.
We are boring, I'm guessing.
Hey, there's a reason why those have been franchised out to like every other form.
Yeah, Thin Mints are truly amazing cookies.
Okay, so back up
Number
cookie.
2, yeah.
Yeah, that'll cause some more conflict.
Tag along. Gotta get that peanut butter chocolate goodness.
I'm with Tyler. Tagalongs, the peanut butter chocolatey goodness.
Oh my God, seriously?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Tylongs too.
Lol. What is it? So they've, like, expanded their flavors in the last time that I, like, ever had the choice of getting Girl Scout cookies. So now they got, like, lemon stuff, and they got just a variety of Girl Scout cookies that I never paid attention to because they were like, would you like any Thin Mints? Okay, goodbye. But, so I honestly don't have much experience with Girl Scout cookies other than the Thin Mints. That's how boring I am when it comes to the Girl Scout racket.
All right.
Here's my
I guess
thing, though.
after that,
Well, once you get after that, then I think you start getting into a very serious set of questions about Girl Scout cookie habits. The first is whether or not you like coconut. Because if you like coconut, then Samoa is your third pick, obviously.
Yes.
But I don't like coconut, so Samoas are out.
What?
I don't like the texture.
So what's your third then?
So my third are the I forget what they're called, but they're like a shortbread cookie with jelly in the center.
Wait. Okay, so I'm looking at it right now.
I don't see those.
Maybe I'm thinking of one. Maybe it's not a Girl Scout cookie then.
It's not the Do-si-dos because that's a peanut butter sandwich.
I do like the Do-si-dos, but they're not my favorite.
Or the lemonades, or the thanks-a-lots. No, I think I remember.
I would argue that the worst flavor on here right now might be the Savannah Smiles. Sorry, Georgia.
You know, I'm not a big fan of the Savannah Smiles either, to be honest.
I feel like I would like that one. I don't remember if I've had it before, but I mean, I really like. I like lemon as a flavor a lot.
Oh, you know what? I messed up when we were talking about third favorite Girl Scout flavor cookies just now, because I totally forgot about the existence of the Thanks a Lot. I thought that was the plain shortbread one. That's actually the trefoil. The Thanks a Lot is the shortbread cookie with chocolate on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my third favorite.
That's what I'm saying, is they've added so many, different new ones that I just can't keep up.
No, there's not. There's only like 5. Or there's only like 10.
Well, the thing is,
the difference between 5 and 10 is 50% here. Come on now.
There's 12 total, please.
Well, and the thing is that you can't buy all of them in every part of the country, which is probably part of why. Yeah, so different bakeries make different cookies, and you can't. And the cookie bakeries are like divided up into 5 different regions of the country.
Oh my god! Now I want the ones that you can't get here.
Yeah, so like you can't get Savannah Smiles in certain parts of the country. They're mostly in the South.
That's probably okay.
Ha!
I can't believe you didn't know that. That's like Girl Scout Cookie 101.
What about the s'mores cookies? Because I'm about on that.
I've never seen the s'mores one.
There's 2 s'mores ones.
I want those.
I've never seen either of them. There's like a sandwich
one, and then there's like a one that's like covered in chocolate.
I'll have them both. I love s'mores.
Thank you. I heard you say it 6 times to 4.
Please.
I love s'mores. I can't get enough of s'mores.
So we all in agreement that Savannah Smiles are the worst ones?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad we settled that. We're tackling the big issues this week, guys.
And we learned that Tyler likes s'mores.
Yeah. Especially Pop-Tarts.
And Theo doesn't like coconut.
Not at all. Not at all. All right, so coming out of our Girl Scout cookies, a fitting follow-up question. We've talked about this on the show before when Ivan was actually on the show, so we're kind of doing a little bit of follow-up here. Do you track your meals and exercise? If so, how do you do it? And do you start to get obsessed with the numbers?
I already track my spending habits, and that's already enough, self-loathing for one existence.
Yeah. Everyone knows that eating and exercising are like whose line.
The points don't matter.
And they're all made up.
So I did track my food for a while. I found it really enlightening, just in terms of like, I didn't realize how bad I was at portion control more than anything. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that I was eating unhealthy, I just don't control how much I eat very well. The frustration of doing it all the time and the stress of the numbers really started to bother me, so I stopped. I do track my activity though, because my Apple Watch does it for me. And now I compete with a bunch of people in my office to see who fills their rings the most days. And like, it's not super scientific or anything, it's more of just like a social thing of, oh, look at me, I worked out more than you today.
Well, like,
I know it's dumb, but it's a way to bond with my coworkers, Shaun.
Here's a way to bond with them. Ask them how their day's going. Be interested in their life genuinely.
Well, we do that, but then it's also an excuse for us to like go to the gym together, and we all ran a 5K together this weekend. Like, fitness is a way that we bond with each other.
Getting that fitness.
God, I must have a really perverted way of doing fitness then.
Luke, do you track your meals or your activity or anything?
Oh God, no. But that's again not something I'm like proud about. Like I remember going to my doctor before like I tried to do track in high school. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do a sport, and he just looked at me thin as a rail, and he was just like, you're gonna need to eat a lot more than what you have. Like, you're gonna have to try. And that didn't pan out, and exercise, it waxes and wanes really for me. Like sometimes I can be consistent. Sometimes I can really, keep a thing going, feel good about myself. Other times I'm busy as shit and don't wanna worry about it,
How's it feel to be on that side of the coin?
Again, it has its ups and downs.
He has to always like hold on for dear life in case a strong gust of wind blows him away.
It's very true. Fun thing though, I can turn sideways and disappear.
All right, and so Ivan's last question for us. We already talked about music, but he wants to know what podcasts are we currently listening to, which I think is probably a good way to round out lightning round. Why don't everybody tell us about a podcast you're listening to and kind of pitch our listeners on why they should be listening to it. If you're not familiar, this month, all sorts of podcasts are doing this thing. It's called #TryPod, TryPod, and they're telling their listeners to recommend podcasts to other people, both podcast listeners and maybe people that have never listened to a podcast before. Approach that question how you will, whether it's a first-time podcast listener or a veteran that's looking for a new show. What would you recommend, guys?
I've been listening to this one for a little bit, but I've gotten into it more recently. It's a show called We Have Concerns, which is done by basically two video game commentators or social people kind of in that sphere, but it has literally nothing to do with video games, but it does kind of have that nice lens to it. And what they do is they just kind of have these just different topics that are like sort of outrageous or extreme that may cause concern, like things that like for some reason might be dangerous. Like, for example, the most recent one that I just listened to, it was a story about a guy that was in Africa, and I guess he like got stranded in his car and it didn't work. And so then he spent 12 days making his car into a motorcycle to drive back to town. And so so they kind of talk about it, they riff on it, they do a lot of like sort of I'm going to say role play, but they sort of like do lots of that kind of like in narrative kind of joking, lots of storytelling that way. So it's really kind of interesting. They're pretty short. They come out with a bunch of different episodes. I think one for every weekday, I think. So it's pretty quick. That's what I would recommend.
So my recommendation right now is going to be The Bugle. The Bugle's been on for a really long time. It's actually what got John Oliver his spot on Last Week Tonight. So it's a news satire podcast, as you would expect, based in London, and it's hosted now by comedian Andy Zaltzman, who used to co-host it with John Oliver. And it's, kind of what you would expect from a news satire, but it's a very international lens on news, because it's based out of London, and they have some people from India on, and some Americans, and so it's just kind of a different perspective than we usually get in our news satire. But the Bugle also does some really fun little segments within the show, because their conceit is that they're an audio newspaper for the visual world, and so they always begin the show with this section of the Bugle going straight in the bin, and then it's like some ridiculous section that they aren't doing, but he does the whole section anyway, and so he'll be like, this week's Bugle section, vegetable book reviews. And he just like comes up with a bunch of punny book titles based on vegetables. It's pretty zany and great. And he's also been trying really, really hard to not start every show by complaining about Donald Trump. And so now they just put like 5 minutes of Donald Trump at the end, and you get kind of a wider perspective on what's going on in the world, which is refreshing if you live inside the American news monster.
So the podcast that I listen to probably the most right now, oh God, get ready, because you're going to be like, what? I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's called the Writer's Almanac.
No, do tell.
Mm-hmm. It's a daily episode that they actually just play on NPR, and I hated it at first. I kind of like really didn't like it, but now I look forward to it every day. It's a 4-minute podcast where Garrison Keillor, who's the host, he talks about like today in writing, and sometimes it's a little bit of history, sometimes it's like talks about a particular author, about their background or something, and then at the end of it he always reads a poem, and it's actually like a really good way to start your morning.
Again, I'm not the most podcast friendly fella. I have been listening to a lot of NPR, but not in a podcast format, in more like I'm driving to work and I turn on the radio kind of format.
Mm-hmm. Well, you could pitch the Adventure Zone to someone since you've
I
dipped
feel
your
like
toe in.
All right, I feel like we pitched the Adventure Zone pretty hard beforehand, but I'm fond of supporting it and sharing it. Basically, it's the Macacadoca boys and their dad. I don't know, like how do you say their last name again?
McElroy.
McElroy, there we go. The McElroy brothers and their dad all playing D&D, and basically just sort of like where I'm at, they've just been playing through like a base campaign, and it gets wacky and zany, and they're pretty good at bullshitting and doing some improv, so it goes some lovely places, and you get some good laughs. And if you enjoy like fantasy settings and Dungeons and Dragons and good humor, and like also there's touching moments between, you know, brothers and their dad, which I'm always a fan of.
And the funny part is, I would say, is that you're like, oh, their dad's on this podcast? I mean, how good can that be? Well, as it turns out, their dad happens to be like someone that does radio. He's like a DJ radio host, so he's very sonically pleasing.
I didn't know he was a radio host. That's a cool fun fact.
Alright, well, it's time to round the show out like we always do with a round of shameless plugs. Starting out with his lightning fast shameless plugs, it's Tyler Reed. Tyler, what do you have for us?
Hey everybody, you can find my work at tylerdreed.com, and you can find my socials as TDR Design on Instagram and Twitter. Bye!
Super lightning speed, Shaun, what do you have to plug?
My name is Shaun Evans. You can find me on Twitter at S78910. That's S78910.
Lucas, thanks for being here. What do you have to plug super fast?
The Twitter that I never use, which is at Lukadaisical. LUKADAISICAL.
And of course, you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram as TC Olmstead. You can like the show on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. And if you really like us, you can leave an iTunes review. Thanks so much, everybody, and we will see you next week for more Brunch.
And don't forget the subreddit.
Don't forget the subreddit.
Brunch, please.
Please subscribe to our subreddit. It's literally just me and Tyler.
Bye!
Train is coming and it's passing Taylor's house. He's gonna turn off his mic, so we don't have to hear the train pass his house because it's so loud and it makes his mic sound things. How long is the train? My voice is getting tired.
Wow, Shaun, that was some great content you made. Something tells me that'll be a very zen moment for something later on.
It just might.